Hello. Hey, friends. Welcome. I'm going to wait till I get going here. Today, we are doing Limewash clay pots. And I know it's a different material. We haven't done a ton with Limewash. So I'm excited to talk about Limewash. A little bit of background on Limewash. Oh, before we get started, Finish Friday 44 is your code for today's products. Everything I used here today, it will be discounted. And make sure you comment. Oh, good, I got eyeball. Make sure you comment, share, like, and you'll be entered for a drawing for free product. So I'm excited. My name is Leonella Cook, and I'm here in South Florida. It is already nice and warm. So I know a lot of you are excited for spring, and we have some really cool holidays coming, Easter and Pesach, and we have Mother's Day right around the corner. So these are great gifts, really cool to do it yourself, and they're beautiful. So we're going to transform this guy into a Limewash finish. Do I have one close to show you? I will show you in a second. Here's one. Here is your finish. Really pretty finish on there. And it's an all natural, all safe finish. And just make sure your plants are okay with the alkaline material. So lavender is great. I have a whole list in the blog. So let's go ahead. We're going to talk about what we need today. Today we need our Limewash powder. You absolutely, without a doubt, need gloves and a dust mask. Safety, safety. This stuff is caustic for your lungs, and it can cause severe skin irritation if you're prolonged touching it, and it will dry your hands out really bad. So ask me how I know. So this is actually a fun finish. It's easy, and then you guys can get brave enough to do your walls, because you'll learn. So this is a primitive finish. It's considered a primitive finish in Scandinavia and other European countries where Limewash was used. It was a cheaper material, and it was actually better for your home. So hi from Oklahoma, welcome. And hopefully if we have time, I can read your comments this time. So I'm going to turn you down. We're going to get started. There's lots to do and different techniques, and I can't wait to share. So I am going to turn you down here to my space. Get that camera out of the way. Yes, it's a little bit of a mess. This is another messy project. I'm so sorry. So we're going to start with our terracotta pot. You must really clean this off, because otherwise the Limewash will not stick to at all. So go ahead and get that clean slate out. I go through cases of this stuff. So turn your pot over, and there might be a sticky from the sticker. And you know what's really cool is I'm seeing pots at Home Depot from Portugal and from Italy, and they're really beautiful. So to add something really nice to this, and this is such a great gift for mom, or you can put Easter lilies. They like that alkaline soil, because your plant could be affected by it. All right, here we go. Okay, so we're all cleaned out. This is where we're starting. And now we're going to start mixing up our Limewash. So a little bit backwards than milk paint. You're actually, and I'm going to have to put a dust mask on, guys, because this stuff is not good for your lungs. All right. So before we begin, put your dust mask on. The ratio for we're going to do 3 different batches. The first batch is consistent with the Limewash for walls mix. So it's 20 to 20 cups of water to 1 pound of this Limewash. A little bit thicker than the normal Limewash. Yes, you could put a plastic liner in the pot, absolutely. And it will save your plant. definitely, especially if you want to put roses. Roses like high acidic soils. And okay, so anyway, so starting with our lime wash, you've got your dust mask on. For this one, we're gonna do about a half a cup. And remember, if you are doing, I would recommend doing 6 pots in a row as opposed to just doing 1 pot. So let's do a half a cup of lime wash. And then we're going to take water. Just have my water source. And you really want this to be a really light consistency. So we're going to go to a 2-to-1. Let's see what this consistency looks like. Woo, messy. What I like to use to mix up is my whisk attachment for my blender. And so you're going to look at this and you're going to think, oh my goodness, it looks like nothing. But I promise you, it almost looks like colored water. So it's really thin. You want your first base coat to be a nice opaque color, just nice. And you're not opaque, transparent, translucent. And you see this right there, you're like, oh my goodness, it's nothing. But it will continue to dry with more opacity. Thank you. So, and have fun with this, guys. Again, this is not, it's not a science. It's really, you're going to practice and do different methods. So what I want is an overall milky look. So you see how it's already starting. So as the oxygen hits the lime, it cures. And that's why you're starting to see this white, this more opaque color than the translucent. And that's where we're going to start. You're going to let this dry. You typically want to let each layer dry for 8 hours. I know that seems like forever, but do 6 pots, set them outside in the sun, and you're good to go. But we're going to keep moving on because of time. So next, we are going to do our color layer. I want this layer, if you want to do color, today we're going to be using hedge green. Really pretty green. I love that green patina you see on old pots. And I also did one in pink, which is really beautiful too. So the Tula Rose is what I used. But right now we're going to work with this one. So I'm going to show you the difference from slacking your pigment to just mixing straight in with your actual color, with the line. So for this one, we want a little bit thicker, and we're going to make it more consistent with a lime wash paint. The ratio is less water, obviously, and more limestone. So for here, we'll do about a half a cup. Again, it's not a complete science. You're wanting the first one to be more loose, the second one to be a little bit thicker. And then now we'll add our water. So a half a cup. For this one, I'm going to go with a 1 cup. 1 cup of water to about a half a cup of that. Go ahead and mix this up. Whew, dusty, dusty. Please make sure you are wearing a dust mask. And now we're going to take our slacked pigment here. This is 2 teaspoons of pigment that I put in water. Just a little bit of water, about 3 tablespoons of water. And I let it sit for a bit. And this will be slacked into your color, into the second layer. Now I want you to see the color difference. It's already darker, it's already richer. Now this completely depends on you, but I don't recommend for small amounts going over any more than a tablespoon and a half. You don't want to overwhelm your mix. If you're doing walls, for 1 pound, you typically want to do about, I believe, 3.5 tablespoons. what's nice about slacking your pigment is you don't have to, you're still going to have to consistently mix it up as you go, but it'll be more oriented into the color naturally. You won't end up with bits and little streaks of color. So if you want it darker, you may add just a little bit more. Again, do stir your slacked pigment. And you can add a little bit more in if you like, or the whole thing, however dark you'd like it. And then from here, we're going to turn our pot to the side. I want you to use your stippling brush as you're going to stipple on your color. Now, this is a little bit thicker. And we're just going to see how the color is more immediate. Now the color, as it dries, will begin to lighten up. So it just depends on how dark you're wanting to do this. I'm going to try this paint. This one's a little bit thicker. You can make it a little bit thicker if you'd like, because we're going to manipulate this with our hands. All right, so I'm going to do one side. So as you begin to see it dry, I want you to push it in places. Let it kind of bubble up a little bit. Let it, see how the texture is coming in? There, just kind of mushing it around. Now, when you look at your pot, I want you to think about, where do pots age the most? They're going to be worn more at the top, and they're going to get a lot of dirt and filth on the bottom. And when you look at old pots, they tend to have the most color somewhere in the middle. And that's where the patina will start to come in this way. So paying attention to where you're doing this. And if you don't like it, you can always come back with a sponge. Wet your sponge, and you're just going to gently use it as a negative tool to remove spots if that was too much texture for you. And we're just gently pushing it around. What I do recommend, hands, love hands. You can do it with your hands and just adding a little bit more color. And we'll finish this pot on this side. All right, and then pushing it around with your hands. Now, I have done one with, I added sand into it, which you absolutely can do. Here is a mix, which will be at the end. You can add sand into your limestone. You can also add moss. How cool. I get, like, you'll see this in the blog if you guys check out the blog. I used moss at the end on my final layer to really add just a little bit more patina, a little more aging. So we're going to let this dry. We are going to mix our last layer, our final layer. And this will kind of go back over what green, if there was too much green for you. This is that final wash. And it's not going to be as thick as that second, but it's not going to be as thin as that first. So layering different ones to get that effect. So now we are going to go, again, we're working small, and I typically work at a half cup at a time, but whatever you use, you have to use that day or the day after. It is not a paint that lasts like a Venetian plaster if you sealed it. It is something that should be made, same day. So I did 3 teaspoons and my water source. Oh, lots of water. Okay. I don't want to over pour. So I'm going to look for about 1/4 cup, and we'll see what the consistency is. Okay. It's going to be, again, we want it to be a little bit thicker than the first, but not as thick as that second mix. Maybe more like a single cream, I would give that a comparison to. Single cream, what is a single cream? It's a little bit like buttermilk, so a little bit thicker than a regular half and half or milk, a little bit thicker. And see, your consistency is just a little bit more. Okay. I am going to hit this with a hairdryer, and I can take off my mask now that I am no longer mixing dust. And so we're going to take our I am gonna hit this with a hairdryer. Sorry guys, I know you hate this. Also, what's really neat too, and I failed to mention, as this begins to dry, hits each stage more of drying, I want you to smash it down. Do you see what I'm doing? By doing that, we're actually making that paint a little bit darker in spots. Yeah, we're losing a little bit, but that's okay because we still have another layer to do. So by like grinding it down, pressing it in, we're adding just a little more color because you can lose quite a bit of color in that final pass. So here, we're going to take that single-ish cream and then we're just going to come over. Again, more stippling. You could also use a steel wool sponge, not steel wool sponge, a seawool sponge. And then here, if you want, again, manipulating everything before it starts to really set up. Okay, you should wait, typically, I'm telling you, if you wait a day for each layer or at least half a day till it feels pretty dry, I think it's more rewarding, but still, you can still do this in a day or less. Use a hairdryer. Okay. And I like to do a little bit of the inside of this pot, I know, but what you want to make sure is you seal the inside with a matte sealer. That way it doesn't affect your plant. But I like for consistency looks to go ahead and just do the inside lip. And here we're just kind of taking on, moving it around. We're going to do the other side. See how nice and green that is? We're just going to take some of that and go over. And we don't want it to look like a spotted cat. So we're kind of just easily going everywhere. Excellent. Okay. And now I'm going to work on this side while the other side dries. So I would, at this point, if you're going to put this outside, you can distress it a little bit with steel wool and take off little spots that you'd like. Or you can also take a blade. Please be careful with these, especially if you're wearing gloves. You can pick out to create any more wear on certain areas. And this is all before we seal it. So before we seal it, we'll do a little distressing, kind of pulling it back. Again, if you want more green, go ahead and use your fingers. Maybe add a little bit more green back in. And then go ahead. I would go back over with that with a white just to soften it, because otherwise you'll have a really poignant green spot. So just softening that look. And so you can stop here. You can add moss. You can add, I did a sand mixture in that final mix. And this is where you can come back with your hands. I mixed just outside sand because I live here in Florida, washed it and added it to my lime. And now I'm going to add some texture to it. Really simple. Now, this is where you really have to pay attention to your dry time, especially if you're adding moss or you're adding sand. You want to allow that to set up. So I'm going to do a hairdryer really quick so you guys can see that. And then we will finish it out with wax and dust of ages, and you will be so happy with your end result. All right, enough of that. So I want you to see that really great texture, okay? And again, you can manipulate it however you like. Come back with, and just kind of brush it off. All right, so from this point, Again, if you're going outside with these, seal them with a matte sealer, and then you could do wax. But if you're staying inside and this is a gift for somebody and you're doing just like a cute little lavender or rosemary or something sweet in it, at this point, oop, that's dark wax. I need light wax. So we're gonna use light wax right here. Ah, here's moss. Look, there's moss from yesterday. Okay, so here, we're just gonna come off. My drawer is empty. Okay, so light wax, we're just gonna go over it. Really easy. And what's nice about waxing it, the finish will still breathe and it will continue to age on its own. Matte sealer really will just stop it where it's at, but the wax will allow the finish to breathe with the pot and really just continue to age. And I have some of these at my house and they look so great because they've aged. So go ahead, you're gonna let that come to tack. And we just gently just waxed. Now we're gonna do that dark wax. And this time it's for accenting. And you do want to offload. So you're gonna come here. We're gonna focus on the edges. Ah, wax is dry. On the edges. And then on the lid, like here, if there's a lip on yours, you know, you want to hit underneath. Where would that have collected dirt over time? And then really start to highlight where, if you put texture, or if you have any texture, just gently sweeping over that texture. And we're just adding a little bit of interest to this pot. Again, you want to let that come to tack. You don't want to just do what I'm doing, but we're doing this for sake of time. So now there, everything is a little highlighted, but we can go even further and we can add Dust of Ages to this finish. I use a box when I do my Dust of Ages. Especially when I'm working on small things, keeps the dust kind of from flying everywhere. So stick your finger through the hole and then you can just add a little bit wherever or all over. Try to leave some areas white because the whole pot isn't just going to age. So there will be spots. You're gonna take that lint-free rag. We're just gonna gently go over just little spots. And so that's your finish, guys. Okay. Really simple, really fun, something to play with. You can add sand, you can add moss, and really come up with something that's just beautiful, really sweet. And add in a little plant, and voila, you have the perfect Mother's Day, Easter, Pesach, any holiday that you are celebrating as a gift for having spent. So I hope you love this. Please comment if you have any questions, share some love, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, guys. Oh, gloves.